All right, let's dive into the Event Horizon Protocol. This story is built around one really chilling question. What happens when a guy who believes in absolutely nothing is forced to save, well, everything? We're going to get right into the anatomy of a nihilist's choice.
So, right off the bat, we get this. In an infinite universe, all action is meaningless. The only truth is decay. Look, this isn't just some edgy one-liner. This is the operating system for our main character, the Quantum Wraith. It's not just an attitude, you know? It's how he sees everything. An infinite universe where nothing you do matters. Pretty bleak stuff.
Okay, so to really get the Wraith, you've got to get his whole deal. And his deal is nihilism. Basically, it's the belief that all rules, all morals, they're just made up, that life, in the grand scheme of things, is completely meaningless. And believe me, that idea is about to be tested in the most extreme way possible.
So who is this prophet of decay? Let's meet the man himself, the Quantum Wraith. So here he is, Vath-kon, a Kryptonian vigilante, yeah, but don't get it twisted. This is no Superman. He's haunting the corrupt streets of Neo-Gotham, and he is not fighting for justice, not even close. He thinks he's just a force of nature, you know, like gravity or time. He's an agent of entropy, the universe's natural tendency to just fall apart.
And his powers? Oh man, they are a perfect, terrifying reflection of what he believes. He doesn't just knock guys out, he hits them with his nuclear vision, and it literally causes them to decay at hyperspeed. We're talking aging into dust in a matter of seconds. It's his whole philosophy turned into a weapon, a physical sermon that says, see, it's all pointless.
So, you've got this incredibly dark philosophy, but what happens when that philosophy stares right back at you? That's where our antagonist comes in.
Meet Dr. R.S. Thorne. He was a brilliant physicist, but tragedy just broke him. He stared into that same dark abyss as Vath-kon, and, wouldn't you know it, he came to the exact same conclusion. Life is meaningless. But here's the twist. He doesn't see the Wraith as an enemy. No, he sees him as a prophet. And his big plan, the Event Horizon Protocol, is basically him trying to make their shared philosophy a terrifying global reality.
And then Thorne says this, and it just changes everything. You are the prophet I needed. You proved my point. Now I finished the job. This is the kicker, right? This isn't a good guy versus a bad guy. Thorne is looking at Vath-kon and saying, hey, I'm just the logical conclusion of everything you believe. I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to finish what you started.
And if you look at this, you can see just how terrifyingly similar they are. On one side, you've got Vath-kon's beliefs. Humanity is futile. Striving is pointless. On the other, you have Thorne's justification. Human suffering is pointless, so a final solution is actually mercy. Thorne literally takes Vath-kon's entire worldview and uses it to justify mass murder. It is a perfect, chilling mirror image.
Okay, so this is where things get real. The philosophical argument is over, and now it's about to become a full-blown crisis.
So what's the threat? Thorne unleashes this thing, a quantum flux capacitor. And get this, it's not designed for a quick, painless death. Nope. It's meant to radiate the entire eastern seaboard, causing a slow, agonizing decay. It's engineered suffering on a massive scale. It's Thorne's twisted idea of mercy made real.
And right then, in the single most important moment, the guy who is supposed to be this unstoppable force of nature just stops. The Wraith hesitates. So why does he freeze up? It's not fear of Thorne or his machine. He's paralyzed by an idea. Everything Thorne is saying, it's just Vath-kon's own thoughts being played back to him. So if he fights Thorne, he's basically fighting himself. He'd have to admit his entire life, his whole belief system, is a lie. And in that single, fatal moment of hesitation, Thorne gets away.
So now, with millions of lives hanging in the balance, Vath-kon is completely trapped. And not by some supervillain, but by the ugly consequences of his own philosophy.
And here it is, the ultimate irony of the whole story. To save the city, Vath-kon has to do the one thing his philosophy says is pointless. He has to strive. The guy who believes all action is meaningless is now the only person who can do anything. The prophet of decay has to become the unwilling savior. So he goes on the offensive, and this entire fight is basically him at war with himself. First, he has to shatter Thorne's defenses. To do it, he uses ice-cold fire to freeze and destroy these automated drones. Then he has to absorb a massive overload of raw radiation and redirect it as these huge blasts. And finally, he just tears through reinforced walls to get to the core. Every single move is a complete and total rejection of his old self.
He finally makes it to the core, with just seconds to spare, and he's faced with an impossible choice. If he smashes the device, it'll blow up anyway. It's a total checkmate. So the question is, how do you stop an explosion without causing one?
And his solution is just wow. He turns his most volatile, his most dangerous power, not on the villain, but on the device itself. He unleashes a kryptonite energy blast. This is a power that literally poisons him, and he fires it right into the heart of the machine.
What happens next isn't just a physical explosion. It's an explosion of his entire worldview. And in the silence that follows, literally everything is different.
So what happens? That blast, the one that poisoned him, it creates this crazy feedback loop that cancels out the chain reaction. The facility is completely destroyed, but the city is saved. And Vath-kon, he survives, but he's left totally weakened and depowered. He paid a huge price.
0. That's his power level. For the very first time, he's not this god walking among mortals. He's just vulnerable. He's as fragile as the same people he used to look down on. The price for saving them was his own power.
And that right there is the core of it all. And saving thousands of people, he committed an act of preservation. It's a complete contradiction to his very nature. He didn't just win a fight, he made a conscious choice to protect, not destroy. And that one choice changes everything.
And this leads to his big revelation. He now gets it. Maybe the universe is meaningless on some grand cosmic scale. But he realizes that the choice to create meaning anyway, that's the ultimate power. It's not about being a force of decay. It's about choosing to build something, to protect someone.
So the story leaves us chewing on this big question. In a universe that might not have any built-in meaning, is the choice to create it the most powerful thing you can do? Something to think about for sure.